Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2023 Genesis Electrified GV70 all-wheel drive in the Prestige trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 265/45 Michelin tires wrapped around 20-inch alloy wheels with a metallic silver gloss finish. It also has a performance braking system with ventilated disc rotors on all four wheels. Just want to point out, this one has the Prestige package, which is $6,800 upgrade. So there's a lot of additional features listed here that you will not find on the base model. The name of this color is Macaloo Gray. I think I'm saying that probably incorrectly, but hopefully you can see what it looks like here. It has a lot of metal flake here and just a very impressive color. It doesn't look like a dull gray color. Now here in the front, it has, kind of matching the wheels, this metallic surface here on the grille. So it's kind of like, looks like a grille, but it's actually all enclosed here. This is actually where the airflow is, down here, for the cooling system, air, climate control, that kind of thing. But this is all blocked off. There is a camera right here in the very center, integrated nicely for the 360 surround view camera system. The Genesis badge is looking nice as well. There's also the radar adaptive cruise control sensor, which is located right here. Parking sensors across the front. They're integrated here, here, as well as here on the side. And there is a silver piece, like a little silver trim right there at the bottom. So this is a flat black right in here. And it kind of blends in with the gray, but that's the flat black portion. Now right in here, when the vehicle's unlocked, you can access the charge port. It's here on the right side. It has a standard charging as well as fast charging. So this has the 800 volt system, so you can really get it charged quickly depending on what you plug it into. Just want to point out something, that this is a full electric vehicle. So the title and the way they named this vehicle, Electrified, is a little bit confusing because that term is also used for plug-in hybrids and stuff. So this one is a full electric vehicle. There is a GV70 that is a gas vehicle, and they look the same. So just keep that in mind. When it says Electrified in Genesis, apparently they're using that term for exclusively EVs. So I'm not sure if, so it's gonna be confusing if you try to compare to other vehicles and other brands. That term is gonna confuse you. So don't accidentally compare this to, say, a plug-in hybrid, because it's a completely different system. Headlights are a multi-projector headlight system. And so the low and the high beams kind of work separately. The bottom portion is the high beams, and then the top portion is the low beams, but they all kind of work together. So even when the low beams, all of them will turn on. And I have a full night video showing you what the vehicle looks like going down the road. The actual pattern of the headlights, the interior lights, which are fantastic. And there's a lot of pluses for a full electric vehicle. This is pretty excellent in most areas. So you can check it out. It's a night video at night on my channel. That's what it's called, at night, the Genesis GV70. Now it's kind of subtle, but right above the silver piece is like this chrome mirror finish piece right here. And it extends here to the side and also to the side of the vehicle. The profile view is looking pretty good. I think they did a good job on the styling overall, I think. Front, back, everything. Now it has a significant slope here in the back. So it has kind of like this bubble effect for aerodynamics. But as far as getting in and out of the vehicle, it's really good. It's actually pretty good. The cargo space is a little bit limited just by that swooping, the height is limited. But other than that, I mean, just general use, I haven't had any problem with the passenger space, cargo space, or anything. There is a little bit of a drawback in the cargo area, and I'll show you that when we get there. But so here on the profile, it does have the body colored handles, side mirror, the upper portion anyway. The bottom portion is gloss black. The pillar here is gloss black, and it kind of solidifies the glass a little bit right in here. But you can see it has this little separator, divider there So even though it is kind of maintaining that swooping design, it just has that little bit of a divider there, and there's chrome accenting all the glass and everything, as well as the piece here on the bottom. Now the wheels are probably my favorite in the Genesis lineup. Really nice wheels. This is what the key looks like, and it is a full proximity key system. And Genesis uses this on, this is their main key. It has a lot of functionality here. Lock, unlock, remote start, the ability to move the vehicle in and out of a parking space, open up the power lift gate, and to turn on the lights when you approach the vehicle. So when we press this button here, it's the panic button. So it beeps the horn, flashes the lights, that kind of thing. It'll give you an idea what the horn sounds like. But this key, the way it's designed, is you can keep it in your bag, in your pocket, or whatever. So you don't actually have to keep it on your keychain. Let's say you carry a bag with you where you go. You can push this down and kind of make that more smooth, like so. And if you want to pop it up, you just press that and it pops it back up. So kind of make it a little bit more sleek if you're carrying it around with you. All right, so let's go ahead and remote start it. And then now, once it's started up, we can move the vehicle using the park buttons here. And when you press and hold the button, it's going to move backwards. Now, if the front wheel, if the steering wheel is turned in any way, it'll straighten the wheel up first before it actually moves the vehicle. But I'm pressing and holding it. All right. You have to be within a certain distance from the vehicle. Okay. So it's moving the vehicle, and as soon as I let go of the button, it stops. It's instantly. Now if we want to go forward, press and hold, we can go forward. So depending on our needs, like say somebody parks too close to us or whatever the case may be, we can actually move the vehicle forward and back using the key. And as soon as I let go, it stops. Also, the parking sensors are active, so if I'm backing up now, I'm going to go ahead and back it up. You can see the reverse lights down there. If I stand here, or if something's here, like my legs are here, it senses that there's something here using the parking sensors, and it just stopped the vehicle. So keep that in mind. It will actually, if there's something in the way and you just happen not to see it, it will actually stop the vehicle and before it actually hits something. Hopefully, that's what it's designed to do anyway. These doors go all the way to the bottom of the vehicle. So right in here, you can see it goes all the way down, and there's a seal at the very base of the vehicle. So the door seals up and keeps this threshold area cleaner than what it otherwise would be if it wasn't covered up. So when you're getting in and out, your clothes hopefully won't get as dirty if they slide across that threshold area. Here's the inside of the passenger side door, and this one has the combination of black and that white color, an off-white color, looking really nice. The light interiors really look good. Now, almost all the door is a soft touch. Even here at the bottom, right in here is a soft touch surface. In here is a hard. This is a little bit of a drawback, because when you put stuff in this area, this is a smooth hard plastic, and it kind of slides around a lot while you're driving. So if they were to carpet that or have something in there to make it a little bit more user friendly, I guess. But this is pretty cool. It's like this metallic piece right here. This is enclosed. This handle is enclosed, so you can utilize that as a pocket, and it has like this little rubber pad on the bottom. And check out the window switch, kind of wide, neat. There's the door lock controls. And we have 3 speakers, 1, 2, and 3 here on the door. It has the Lexicon upgraded sound system. You saw that in the Prestige package on the window sticker earlier. Now it has the French stitching, contrast stitching here, looking cool. Here. Metallic handle. This is all, basically the seats are the leather, Napa leather surfaces, and the rest of this is like a leatherette type material here, and on the dash. But yeah, it's very sophisticated looking, but it's very usable. Like it's designed to use and be comfortable. There's a threshold. It has a little sill plate there with the Genesis name on it. Now the passenger seat, it is a full power seat with 4-way lumbar adjustments. You can actually go up and down and tilt it and everything. And it has these gold little trim pieces right here, looking pretty cool. Heated and ventilated seats. The perforations there in the center. And as you move up on the seat, you can see it has these quilted pattern here as well. Now the seats can be adjusted. There's actually controls right here. You can see right there on this seat. So they can be controlled from the passenger side or the rear seat. So you can move this seat around if you need to. It comes in handy sometimes. Lots of leg room here in the front. Floor mat hooks in place in one place, keeping it from sliding too much forward. All carpeted there on the side. This is all soft touch. The locking glove compartment and felt lined. Pretty decent size. And this is more of that leatherette type material here. Got more stitching here. And then this is a kind of rubbery soft non-reflective dashboard with the contrast stitching. And I like the way they have the vents kind of integrated in this area here, integrated with the design of the vehicle. It's really cool. I forgot to mention, well, it's something I want to mention now before we get too far. On this angle, I don't know if you can notice, right in here you can see a little bit of that ambient light. Typically these type of mood lighting or ambient lights are only seen at nighttime, but this one is, you can catch a glimpse of it here and there during the day, and it's just so cool. I have it set to purple, so you might be able to see that right in there, kind of glowing a little bit. And it's just kind of cool to see it during the day sometimes. So you can see the opening here in the front. Lots of headroom, lots of leg room. Real easy getting out of the vehicle. The seat is a pretty good ways off the ground, so it kind of feels like you're getting into a chair. So it's just a very comfortable and easy to get in and out of and use vehicle. Very pleasurable to drive and all that stuff. So you can see the back door. The swing of the door is okay. You can see it's quite a bit smaller right in this area, but there's pretty decent amount of headroom. It does kind of taper there, but hadn't had any problem with getting in and out of the passenger rear doors. I have passengers going in and out and hadn't really heard any complaints. The inside of the back doors have this shade that retracts into the door, and I like the way it has the center piece right here. You can grab it and kind of have control over it. I wish these little catches though were in the center as well. They're kind of on the more towards the ends, but it's still easy to line up. No skimping on the style, basically the same style completely, a little bit different door, but yeah, soft touch down here as well, smaller pocket here. And the back seat is basically a bench seat, but it does have the ability to fold down in a 60-40 split, so you can add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space. There is on the back of the seats here, this is a hard touch surface, and then it has the net pockets for putting stuff there. So like a mount pocket, but it's a net, which is kind of nice because when you put stuff in there, you won't forget about it because you'll be able to see it. Sometimes you put stuff in there and forget about it, but this time you can actually see it. Cup holders and an armrest there in the center. You can lift that up, get out of the way. There's also quite a bit of connectivity back here, or use it, stuff that you can use. So you have heated seats back here, complete climate control adjustments, as well as USB charge ports. There's another view of that adjustment for that seat. So like if you're sitting back here, the seat's a little bit too far back on you, you can move it forward, you can move it back, you can tilt it. Now that might drive the person sitting in shotgun a little bit crazy, but you do have the ability to do that. And it does have the car seat attachments here, and they're right in here. So there's no covers or anything. They're real easy to get to. No covers to get in the way or just being an eyesore. So that's easy. It's there on the outer portion, outer seats. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has a body color shark fin antenna right here in the center. Then these roof rails are like a metallic color. They match the wheels actually, it's pretty cool. Now it has a spoiler right here, and right integrated into that spoiler is a nice third brake light. Really nice glowing LED third brake light. Got to check out my night video, see what it looks like. And then here, we'll get into this a little bit more, but here's the windshield wiper, and it seems to kind of pop out and stick out a little bit compared to the contour of the vehicle. But it does have this excellent design where the button to open up the power liftgate is right there. So easy to use with your hand or your elbow. Like, you just walk up and hit it with your elbow and you can open it up. So it's really fantastic. I like that. A little bit different, but it just seems to work better. Taillights are, of course, LED. Sharp, red, very impressive. And then the parking sensors across the back integrated into the gray portion here, the body color portion. And then the backup camera, a little bit, slightly disappointed. It is in the center though. It's right here. It is in the perfect center, which is great. But I wish it was like the G90, in which it was a little bit higher and integrated into the vehicle a little bit better. But as it is, it works okay. It's not a big deal. But I just thought that, why not go with something a little bit better, especially this type of vehicle. Now the reverse lights are down here, there and there. And that kind of helps, you know, that works well with the position of the camera. But yeah, if these were a little bit higher and the backup camera was a little bit higher, I would be a little bit happier. Of course, there's no exhaust because it's electric. But these right here are reflectors. These are not lights. I just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's use that awesome button to open up the power liftgate. So you can press that button. Really cool. Now the underside of the power liftgate is just a hard plastic. And, you know, could carpet it or something, but that's the way it is. And there's no lights under here either. If you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this is the cargo space. Now it has this shade that you can, retractable shade, and good thing you can take it out because it takes up quite a bit of the cargo space here. So you can just take it out and you can store it underneath this floor, and I'll show you where in a second. But just overall, you can see it's carpeted everywhere except for the underside of this liftgate. So when you have stuff in here and you accelerate fast, because the electric vehicle is going to be able to do that, everything's going to hit that hard plastic, and, you know, just keep that in mind. There's a speaker back here. The ability to lower these second row seats, it does have these pull latches for that. Pretty decent lights back here. You can check out my night video. There's a little storage pocket back here, 12-volt power supply, as well as a power inverter. This also has the vehicle to load system, and has like an adapter that you can plug into the charge port and use like a power inverter type system as well. There's the other latch for folding the other side of the seat. And you see it's a 60-40 split right there. Now these seats do fold down, or they recline, and then so you can adjust the recline of each seat independently. You can see one is more reclined than the other. Now under this floor, now this actually has a latch. So this handle, when you lift it up, it releases the latch right here. And that's important because these floors, let's say you get in an accident, especially if there's stuff underneath them, can lift up and tumble in the vehicle, you know. So having this secured and everything below it secured, I think is important. All right, so when this lifts up, there is some additional storage area. Now most of it's taken up right now with the vehicle to load adapter. So you plug this in the charge port, and then you have a let me see if I can do it with one hand. Okay, there we go. It has a 3-prong power inverter here. So it's actually 15 amps. So 125 volts, 15 amps. So, and it pulls off the main battery of the vehicle, the drive battery basically. So you have a lot of power there using that particular system. Now you do have to turn on that system. in the menu there. But yeah, this is an initial feature there. There's a net pocket. This is the user manual. This is a charger, and I don't recommend using it. This is what comes with the vehicle. But it is, as you can see, 110 volts. So we're talking, you know, potentially a week to charge the vehicle. So it's very slow charging this way. So you need a level 2 or higher. Now at your house, you can basically get a 220 line run and a sort of like similar to what you'd see in a stove, a 50 amp outlet, and then you can plug it in with an upgraded charge cord and charge the vehicle overnight, and it's not a big deal. But this one is kind of a big deal. It's very slow. It's ridiculous. Lowering the power liftgate, there's actually 2 buttons here. This one is to lower the tailgate. This one is to lower it and then lock the vehicle completely. So when you're done with the vehicle, you got groceries out, you hit that button, walk away, it's going to close this and secure the vehicle. To start it up, before we start it up, actually, I want to point out something. Look at how nice this looks. This is all blacked out right in here. This is all blacked out, and then this is the view that you have on the dash. I don't know, just kind of, I like the way it's just completely blacked out like that before you start it up. So to start it up, you have the key, of course, inside the vehicle. Hold the brake and press this button. And so when it says ready to move, it's ready to move. Since it's electric, you don't have any engine starting or any noise, that kind of thing. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice that the floor mat on this side hooks in place in 2 places, keeping it from sliding forward, but also from twisting and stuff like that. There's the accelerator, brake pedal, and a footrest. Let's take a look under the hood. To release the hood, there's a latch in the very center. It's right in here. Just reach in, lift up on it, and it basically unlatches right here. That's what it's doing. And it just kind of holds itself up. And it's really easy to lift up. It's not hard at all. And you'll notice that there's a lot of everything covered up. There's a lot of components here that are just not something that you want to mess with. But it does have this compartment right here. It's very small. Now it is, you know, like watertight basically, so you can put some stuff in here. But this has the tire mobility kit because this does not have a spare tire. So this is just like an air pump and also like a fix-a-flat type seal right here. So your air pump's right here. You can use that independently, or you can use that with the sealer to seal up a tire if you need to. But hopefully you won't need to. And if that doesn't work and you have to call roadside assistance because there's no spare tire. So it has like these little shelves right here and a deeper portion here. This would be where the best place for that. It also says motor serial number. And basically what this means is that you can pick up this, and then there's a little door. And then in there, deep in there, will be somewhere with a flashlight, you can see the serial number to the electric motor. Here in the front. So you notice that there's a light over here, right there. And even with the headlights on, and there's no button or anything, so I haven't been able to get that light to turn on. So I'm not sure what the deal, if this vehicle is defective in that way or what's going on, but there's a light here. Maybe it works in other vehicles. This one I just can't get it to work. On the side mirror is the indicator for the blind spot detection system, rear cross traffic alert. It also has, it alerts you if there's a vehicle coming while you're opening up the door, maybe like you're parallel parked, that kind of thing. And so it has a lot of functionality, but that's what the indicator is, on the side mirror itself, and it turns the light on. These are also auto dim side mirrors as well. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons here. So there's 2 presets for the power seat. Power windows are here. They're all one touch up and down. So just one touch up and down. And the back windows go to right there. And these are laminated glass. And actually, there's 2 panes of glass, and then there's an acoustic material there in the center. And so it's laminated together. But all the glass here on the sides, and then of course the windshield is as well. This helps with noise as well as just rigidity and stuff, but mostly noise. Door lock controls are here, and then the side mirrors are adjusted here. So you just pick a side and adjust it with this little pad. Now this right here, the center button, press that in and it power folds the side mirrors. Now I have it set to when we lock the doors, they just automatically do that. So the driver's seat always has to warm up the passenger. So this one has a lot more functionality. There is the thigh extension here using that. You can raise and lower it, tilt the back, tilt this, everything like a dentist chair basically. But it also has different massage options there, which will show up on the screen. All this stuff will show up on the screen. You just touch this and it shows up on the screen showing you what it does, because there's a lot of buttons here, so it's easy to get them mixed up. And then you have the 4-way adjustments there for the lumbar, but there's also the ability right here to adjust these bolsters. So these bolsters are adjustable as well. So yeah, a lot of movement, a lot of positions that you can get comfortable in these seats. Now the only issue with that is if they're adjusted, fine-tuned for somebody else, then when you first get in them, they might not feel all that comfortable. You have to fine-tune them for yourself. Or at least that's the case with me. So here to the left of the steering column, this is just a fuse box cover, so that's not a compartment. The ability to open up the power liftgate. This is the electronic parking brake. Now it has a setting to where when you put it in park, it just automatically does that, but it does have the ability to manually engage and disengage it as well. There's also the dimmer switch for the interior gauges, and all the interior lights, basically you can adjust that there as well as on the screen. Downhill descent button, so this would be like a very slow crawling cruise control. See if you can see that. Kind of bright. This bright interior kind of makes the camera mess up sometimes. So yeah, the dimmer switch, downhill descent, and this is traction control off. Default will be on. And then right here is a tilt and telescoping steering column, and it is powered. Before I put the shade up, just want to mention the heads-up display is fantastic. The heads-up display has the speed limit signs, it has the speed you're actually going, it shows you if there's a school zone, it shows you the lane departure warning system, the adaptive cruise control. It also has like album art for the radio, and it's basically like a high definition screen. It's not as simple as a lot of other heads-up displays, and it looks really good with the naked eye. Trying to get it on the camera sometimes is a little bit of a challenge. Now I mentioned that when I touch the seat controls here on the side of the seat, it pops up here on the screen. So basically, it lets me know what I'm touching right now. So I'm touching the thigh extension, which can go up, down, and extend out. So there's a lot of adjustments there. And then this one is to tilt the seat, move it forward and back and high, up and down. This one is to tilt the back, so I can go forward or back. And then this one is for the thigh, the bolsters there on the side. And then you have the lumbar adjustments. So basically it tells you what you're touching, so you can go ahead and adjust it, so you don't get confused with all these buttons here on the side. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat, I'm 6 feet tall, and I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down to show you the potential legroom here is fantastic. So yeah, even if you're, like I'm 6 feet tall, this is way too far back for me to drive safely. So yeah, if you're over 6 feet, no problem driving this vehicle. All right, so the steering wheel, really impressive. It's soft, comfortable, it looks nice. It is a heated steering wheel as well, and just overall impressive. And so yeah, it has the perforations here on the edge, kind of small micro perforations there, and then the regular here at the top and the bottom, and it's a leather wrap steering wheel. Notice it has this boost button. We'll go over that in the actual driving portion, because it actually gives you, this is how you get the maximum power of the vehicle. It's a little bit held back until you press that, but it's still powerful either way. Here on the right side is the cruise control. You set it, you turn it on and set it with the same button, and then you can, like once the system's on, you can increase or decrease the speed, pause and resume, cancel and resume. Also, if you want to set it, once the system's on, set it again, you can press this down and it'll set the cruise control. Now this button is for the lane keep assist system. It actually holds the vehicle in the lane. It does a pretty decent job. It's not intrusive, it doesn't fight with you. This button is to set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. Now this scroll wheel and this pages button, we'll get to that. It has to do with the screen up here. We'll get to that in just a second. Volume for the radio, change to the tracks on the radio. Mode, which is the audio source. Voice recognition is here. Here's the phone button, so you answer calls and hang up using the same button. And then this button is like a wild card. You can set it up in the screen over there in the settings, and you can decide what that button does. Windshield wiper controls for the front and rear are here, and they does have the automatic rain sensing setting there as well if you want to use that. And then on this side, it has the turn signal, of course, but it also has the headlight switch. Off, automatic, parking lights, and headlights on. And it does have the automatic high beams as well, which seemed to work great. I hadn't had an issue with it, and I'm very, very picky with that type of thing. Okay, so this is they're calling this the 3D. This is one of the upgrades on this package, is a 3D, three-dimensional appearance of this gauge cluster. So sometimes I look at it and it looks flat. There's no three-dimensional aspect to it whatsoever. But sometimes I look at it and it's like, wow, it's actually three-dimensional. But as I look at it at an angle, you can kind of tell it's still flat again. So it's kind of interesting that that effect kind of comes and goes depending on how you look at it. You know, depending on how your eyes, I think, focus or whatever. But it looks really good. I mean, overall, it looks great. And there's different views here. I'll actually go into the settings. I want to show you the views because it is cool. It's one of those things where I like all of them, so it's hard for me to adjust or to decide which one I want. So theme A, it was that one. Here's theme B, which is like when you put it in the sport modes, it basically defaults to this when you have it linked to the drive mode, which is cool. And then check it out, theme C has like this kind of high-tech look, Tron look or whatever. So yeah, let me know in the comments which one you like. Theme A, theme B, or theme C. I'm gonna put it on C now because I'm like theme A and C I just kind of keep alternating. They're so cool. But you can see it has this kind of digitally represented speedometer there, and then you have this kind of status of the battery, whether it's using electricity or charging electricity, the charging or exhausting it. And this little gauge right here is for the regen system, the regenerative braking. And you see these paddle shifters. They're not actually paddle shifters. They're to increase and decrease the regen braking. And you can go all the way down to 0 if you want to. So let's say you just want to coast, like you're going on a highway and you're going high speed. Sometimes it's good just if you were to let go of the accelerator for whatever reason, you're not using cruise control, it'll just coast. It's not going to rapidly slow you down. But let's say you're going up and down real steep hills. Well, you can use the paddle shifters to increase that up. You can keep on going all the way up to one pedal drive type, to where you don't even hardly have to use the brake pedal. It'll slow you down that fast. I'm not really a big fan to where I live to use this much. I leave it on basically almost the lowest right there. I don't coast, but I have a little bit of regen braking just to kind of simulate the normal, regular vehicle feel. All right, so we have the odometer there. And over here, you can see it has outside temperature. This is your range, very important to know that. And then your battery level. shows the last speed limit sign that you passed, which also shows on the heads-up display. And then right in here is, this represents your car, and the lines represent the lines that you're driving on, the lane that you're in. Now, when you come up to a car or something, it'll actually show like a little shadow block there showing you that it sees the car in front of you. And when you set the distance, when you change the distance here, then, well, I can't do it because we're not driving. Yeah, anyways, it'll actually show the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you right in there. Maybe you'll be able to see that when we're driving the vehicle. But yeah, this gauge cluster is really cool. So let's go ahead and use these buttons here. So I'm going to refer to this as the pages button. This is a scroll wheel. And then you can press in to select with the scroll wheel. Alright, so we're going to press the pages button. So you can see it changes what you see there in the center. It scrolls through those different options there. Now, if you scroll up and down, you hit the OK on the scroll wheel, and then you can go up and down, and then you can choose the 3D cluster. You can turn that on or off. In the settings over there, you can actually adjust the intensity. Heads-up display, you can turn that on or off. Driver assistant settings, you can go in there and turn features on or off, but it pops up on this main screen over here. So it's basically just a shortcut. And that's it for that little scroll wheel. And then you can exit there. And you notice this little guy right here, this little bar as you're driving, it gives you like a little status bar of what you're actually using as far as electricity. Okay, so this screen right here, as we're pushing buttons, it went into the settings and all that stuff. But let's go to the home screen. You can actually control this screen using just touching it, or there's these buttons here. So you have the home button, back button, menu. There's this wheel right here which you can turn. You can also bump it left and right. Also up and down, turn it, and in the center part you can actually draw letters, and there's a certain area in which you can do searches that way. It's not used all the time. Okay, so here, and I actually have a full video of the Genesis system because it's so involved, so I'm gonna have to give you like a simplified version here. So when you hit the home button twice, it'll stay on this screen right here. It'll go to this. And I like the way it has a digital clock, nice and big, easy to read. Also, the calendar there shows you what day it is, the status of the radio, and it shows you this cool picture. But it also gives you you can see that's actually the navigation map kind of blended in there. It kind of transitions into this navigation map. So it looks pretty neat. Not super functional, but it is there. All right, so that's the home button. Now, if we either turn this wheel or bump it to the right like that, it goes over to that screen. See, so that, and that is the three options. So that, now this is the first one. So I'm going to scroll. Now, if I actually bump to the right, it's going to go to the whole nother screen. But if I scroll, it's going to go to the next option within the screen. Okay, so we're going to hit the most important ones. This first one is the EV, and you can actually reposition these if you want. But the first one here is the EV, which is very important. So I'm going to press down on that. I'm going to press down, it makes it the selection, and then it's going to go into that EV menu. Now, the key information here is the battery percentage, the nearest charge place, which is right here, 3 miles away. If I hit that, if I select that, it's going to pull up the navigation and take me there, okay? Now this is the range all the way to that line, 137 miles. That's the range that I can go with the climate control on. And now if I turn the climate control off, it gives me that little extension right there. Now it depends on if summer, winter, what the difference between your interior and exterior temperature set. That range could be more significant than what it is right now. It's not a huge difference now, but it can be depending on if it's wintertime or whatever. But it does give you a real-time estimate on what your range is depending on what's going on. So if you need a couple extra miles, you could potentially turn the climate control off and then make it, if you are, really pressing it or whatever. Now there's this full settings for the And this is also very important, so I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on everything else. The charge settings are very important. So max charge, percent charge, typically I have it set to 100%, because this vehicle is going to go on a little bit of a trip. But normally, if you're just driving it normally, you want to back it down to like 90 or 85, something like that, the max percent charge. Now you can specify whether on a max charge, whether it be the DC or AC charger. DC charger is not at your house. That's the fast charging system that you go to. That's the, you know, like that's like the 800 volt type systems. But the AC charger would be at your house, and then that would be, you can set it your daily charge. You can set that separate than when you're on the road, which is handy, because if you're on a trip, you want to go to a higher percentage versus just at your house. All right, you can also adjust the charging current. The charging current is important if you, depending on what you plug your vehicle in. But so in my case, I have a 40 amp at my house, 40 amp charging system. And I've actually put it to minimum, and minimum is about 22 amps, reduced is about 35, and then maximum will be 40 amps. So I actually put a minimum. It's a little bit less stressful on the electrical system and grid and all that stuff, and so I just put it on there. So being able to do that is great. All right, so utility mode. So this would be like if you want to use the radio and stuff like that, you can activate this and it'll use the big battery instead of the small battery. There is actually a small, like regular 12 volt battery in the vehicle as well. Smart regen, you can have faster or slower regen. What's good about this system, it actually tells you over here what everything does. Lock charge cable, well, you can have that set up the way you want. And then the charging started voice alert. It literally says, like outside the vehicle, like, hey, we're charging the vehicle now. So I just turned that off. It's not necessary. Okay, so that's important. And like, you can go back here, or you can go hit the little home to go to the menu, depending on where you're at. Here's the navigation map. You can hit that. All right, you can see what that looks like. It's pretty basic. And there's the search, all that stuff for the navigation. Radio, whatever the radio is set to, and then media. It actually has AM, FM, satellite radio, Bluetooth audio, USB music, USB video here on the screen, AM, sounds of nature, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, or wirelessly Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. And sounds of nature is basically just like some rainforest and stuff, just some relaxing music. It's the same thing I saw on the G90 had this, and had a bunch of other stuff like this kind of stuff. I guess for relaxation time or whatever while you're charging the vehicle, that kind of thing. HD radio capable. There's your phone. Genesis connected services with like an app on your cell phone. Phone projection, that would be Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Voice memo, these are pretty cool. So you can actually hit the voice, but record your voice while you're driving. So if you need to make a note or something, it's really handy, really handy. Subscribe to Mike's Car Info on YouTube. All right, so there's a reminder. All right, and then the setup, oh man, there's a lot of stuff in the setup, so I gotta go real brief. Because it explains everything. So like say we go here to vehicle, and then you go to vehicle assistance, it explains it. It has like visual references and everything. So it gives you an idea and explains everything. So you can see it has like these sub menus. So you have this, and then you have this menu, and then you have the sub menu of that, and then it continues on, you know. So it's infinitely divisible menu system here for the setup. There's a lot of stuff going in. Like I said, I have a separate video showing you how to set up a Genesis vehicle. It does have valet mode. The seat right here, you can go in and adjust some settings on that. Adjust the cushion height, cushion tilt, seat back recline, all these different things here. All right. Quiet mode will basically focus everything here in the front, so that way if you got kids or something in the back, that, you know, won't wake them up as easy. And then the climate is right here. This is the full climate control screen. Most everything's controlled down here for this, but you can have the full functionality and understand what's going on, where the air is blowing, what the temperature's set at, all that stuff. And it is driver, passenger, and rear climate separate. So it's a tri-zone system. And you can lock out the rear climate control if you got kids back there so they're not playing around with it. Alright. And then this last screen right here is the manual, which is just a QR code, which scan it with your phone, and then it takes you like a link to link to the actual site where the navigation the online manual is. Now this is where the handwriting manual is. Handwriting tutorial for doing searches. So right here it says writing a character. So write G on the touchpad. So we go to the touchpad and we make a letter G, and you can see it's actually doing it there. So let's go do it again, like so. So let's go ahead and do it again. So yeah, that's basically what this is for. So you can write little letters there. See, there's not like a keyboard or anything. So that's what that is. And that's for doing searches. Now this one right here, you hit that, and you can set up your user profiles. So you can set it all up here. It does have fingerprint identification, which is pretty cool. And I just want to mention that the user profiles has everything changes. Basically the seat adjustments, the side mirrors adjust it differently. The radio station favorites are different. Like the climate control settings, everything, all the settings can be completely different depending on the user profile. So, you know, just keep that in mind. It's really impressive. If you have two people driving a vehicle, they can set up the vehicle completely different. And actually, I go into in the night video, I go in here and I show you how to do the ambient light. So that's a separate, the lighting is a little bit different. But you can actually see that I have it set to purple. You can actually see it here as well. It's really nice. Okay, so we have the dial here for the driver and passenger temperatures there. You can sync them as well, recirculate the air. Now these buttons here on the side are not like just soft touch buttons. You actually have to press them in like that. Like so. Same thing over here. And then you have heated and cooled seat adjustments here and here. Heated steering wheel, it's actually two-stage. Press it one time, it's maximum. Second time is lower. Third time is off. And now there's these physical buttons down here, so you can quickly go to the map, the navigation, your wild card button there, which is same on the steering wheel. Four-way flashers, radio, media, and setup. So you have these physical buttons that you can quickly kind of shortcuts to get to certain places. You can also change the fan speed here. Have driver only. Yeah, change where you want the air to blow. Driver and passenger, you can have it separate, or you can have them sync like we have now. If you want to adjust the rear, you just hit right here, and then you can adjust that separately. Alright, so parking sensors, you can turn that on or off. You can see the little light that turns on. This button is to turn on the camera system. So I'm going to go ahead and press that. And now we're back to this screen. And the camera system is pretty good. It's really, really good. So we have a top-down view here. And then right now, it's actually showing behind the vehicle. We can see different views here. So there's top-down behind the vehicle, a wide view, and then it just basically cuts the vehicle out and you only see the sides of the back wheels. So if you get close to a curb or something, that's handy. Alright, so this one basically gives you a 360 view, and it gives you a visual, like a digital render of this vehicle. It's not actually this vehicle, but you can look around and see where you're at. And it kind of gives you somewhat of a view around you, which is pretty cool. You can also use this to kind of scroll around like so and see around the vehicle. Very handy in certain scenarios. It's very handy. Now if you put the vehicle, and then this is a shortcut to the settings for the camera system. If you put the vehicle in drive, then you'll see the front view. And the front view has the top-down view, the wide view, and then it cuts the vehicle out, and now we're looking at the front tire. So when I turn the steering wheel, you can see they're actually turning. So that way, if you need to get close to something, you can keep an eye on the sides of the vehicle. You're losing your front view, though, other than the top-down view. Now, we still have this available, but it's the same thing. All right, so let me just show you here. Let's go back to this, actually, and we'll spin it around like that. Now, if I put it in reverse, actually, let's go back to this, because I want to show you what it looks like here. So now, let's say we're driving like this, or we're moving the vehicle. You can actually see the little wheels move and everything. And then we can look at this side, and then we can move a little bit more. So yeah, it's very handy at certain specific times. It's very handy to have this. Now I'm going to go forward. When I turn the steering wheel, there's these active guidelines that pop up here. It actually shows the wheels turning on the render of the car as well. So yeah, that camera system is fantastic, and it's really easy to turn it on here, or when you put it in reverse, it just automatically pops up. Or if the parking sensors detect something and it starts beeping, it pops up automatically as well. All right, this is the drive mode. So as you cycle through the drive mode, so there's Sport, My Drive Mode, Sport, Comfort, and Eco. And it also shows it here on the screen as well. Comfort, Sport, and then my drive mode is basically you can go in and you set it the way you want it to. It has the settings right there. Now this is similar. The boost mode is a little bit different than the sport mode. I mean, it's actually like a short, like 8-second, window in which you can accelerate. It's not like you just push boost and it stays on like the sport mode. So it's a little bit different experience there. But it is a fast vehicle. No matter how you cut it, it's very fast and enjoyable to drive. All right, so this is the volume for the radio. This is the tune through the radio. Now these little scroll wheels, I wish they were rubberized because they're a little bit slippery. And they're the type of buttons that you can press in as well as scroll. So if you don't have a good grip, it feels like you got to press harder, and then sometimes you accidentally press the button. So if these were rubberized, I think that'll be a little bit better. Same thing, steering wheel, if those are rubberized as well. So we saw this button, the home button, the menu, and the back, that corresponds here. So you press the menu, it just kind of pops up and gives you the option to reorder the icons here. You can also turn the display off if you want using the menu. And we saw this little guy right here. We're turning this, pressing that, we're bumping it, all that stuff. That's what that's for. Now the auto hold, when you come to a complete stop, it just holds the brake for you when this is initiated. I don't really care for it, but if you want to use it, you can turn it on, and it's handy to have on, but I turned it off. It actually shows you that it's on right up here, so there's no like a status light. All right, so this is the actual shifter, and they went with like a jewelry type look, and it does have the ambient light, which is customizable the color. And basically, to put it in reverse, you just move it all the way to the left. You can see it's there. Parking sensors turn on, the camera system turns on, all that stuff. All right. To put it in neutral, you just gently move it to the right. Now we're in neutral. And then, but if you want to go to drive, you just kind of go all the way to drive like that. To put it in park, you just push that button. So it's pretty straightforward and it looks cool. Now, you could make the case for this being up here and then this being back here, but it's just a matter of getting used to, because if you're using the touchscreen system, the radio system more than this, then you'd think it'd be back here, so it'd be easier to just kind of rest your arm there and use it. But they have it set up for a reason, and my initial reaction is that it could have been easily swapped. All right, so right in here is a wireless charge port as well as USB charge ports as well, and connectivity to the system. And it'll give you the status when you put your phone in here. It goes all the way down. I actually have a S23 Ultra, which is a pretty big phone. We'll go ahead and put it right in there, no problem. And it starts charging even with the case on, and then I can close it up and it's completely out of the way. Here's the cup holders, little articulating arms, looking nice. It does have a little rubberized portion at the bottom that you can take out, clean, put it back in, that kind of thing. Comes in handy. The armrest is pretty soft, not quite big enough to share with the passenger unless you're really generous. But it lifts up right here, like kind of spring-loaded, doesn't fall back on you. You can lift it up all the way. And it's a felt-lined, pretty good sized compartment here. It does have this little tray, but the little tray kind of gets in the way sometimes. It's supposed to go back here, but just kind of gets in the way sometimes. It's supposed to mount back there like that. It's handy for putting quick access stuff like change or whatever you need to get quickly, but it does kind of get in the way, especially if you're trying to reach under here, because this does go this way a little bit. It goes up in that way a little bit. And there is a light in there. I'll show you that at nighttime. And there's a 12-volt power supply. And there's also a little bit of a space, like right in here, right in there. It's kind of just kind of tail, but right in there for wires to go in and out of the compartment. So everywhere else is sealed up, kind of too tight, but right in there is the spot where the wires can go in and out of this compartment. Rear view mirror, it's an auto dim rear view mirror. It's actually auto dimming now, as well as the side mirrors. Normally don't see that during the day. But the reason why it's auto dimming is because I had this shade over this light sensor, which is located back here. And also it has the HomeLink garage door opener controls right here. There's a place to put your sunglasses. It is a felt lined. Looking pretty nice. Also the interior lights, you can turn them all off or turn them all on right here. And you can see this one here as well. All off. You can also turn them on, have them to where when you open the door it turns on by having that selected. Roadside assistance here. This is the application that you can quickly access. And then these are kind of tap lights. You just press them and turn them on. But actually you don't touch here on the lens like I just did. You actually touch here and it turns them both on. And it has like a little plastic bump letting you know where to touch. And it's backlit, so you can find it at nighttime, which is great. This is for the sunroof. We'll get to that in a minute. Now the headliner is a full microfiber suede headliner, and it continues all the way down on that pillar, on the pillars right here on the side, and on the underside of the sunroof shade is all that microfiber suede. The visor has a light, has a big mirror, and it has a clip right here. And it extends out. So you can extend it out and close it there, and it's the same microfiber material. All right, so let's look at the sunroof. So we see just this one knob right here controls everything. So looking at the sunroof, it's a panoramic sunroof, goes all the way to the back. So the first press like that, you just gently press it back and it'll open up the shade all the way back, and it's fairly fast, which is nice. Some of them are like ridiculously slow. But you see it has the dark tint there, which is nice. I like the fact that it's nice and dark, because I don't care for, like, you know, if I wanted it completely clear or whatever, I'd buy a convertible or something like that. So having that when it's blocks 100% of the light when you have the shade closed, and then when it's open, it's still not full sunlight on you all the time. It's just a nice view right here. Now, if we want to slide back the glass, press it harder, like so. Press it again, as far as it goes back, actually. Press it forward. I pressed it too hard, actually, because when you press it hard, it not only does it close the glass, but also closes the shade. So if you gently push forward, it'll close it. So now we want to just tilt it up. So just press up on the button, like so. Press it again, and it goes back down. Now we'll close the shade. Looking at the visibility here in the back, you can see there is a lot of potential for blind spots. So one thing I would probably recommend is they were to add the rear view camera, the rear view mirror camera system. that helps out. But I mean, there's so much technology anyway. But you can see there's pillars back there getting in the way. There's headrests getting in the way. And then, of course, if you had passengers and cargo and all that stuff, then it has the potential for being a little bit annoying as far as visibility back here. Those shades don't help either. But considering it has the blind spot detection system, rear cross traffic alert, parking sensors, a really good camera system, you name it. I mean, there's just so much technology, it's hard to remember it all. But as far as helping you change lanes, backing out of parking spaces, all that stuff is not a problem. I hadn't had any problem really. Even with the visibility issues, not really an issue overall anyways. One thing I want you to notice while we're driving is when I put the turn signal on, it's going to give a camera on the appropriate side here on the screen. When I put the turn signal to the right, it gives us the blind spot camera to the right side. So really handy as far as changing lanes. And that's in addition to where we're talking about all the technology as far as changing lanes and using the vehicle safely in the blind spots. That just seals the deal for awesomeness right there. Now the range on this vehicle, when it's charged to 100%, is about 230, 240, somewhere in there. Now it depends on if it's cold out, depends on a lot of different factors, but my experience, you get at least about 220 on a charge. Now I don't let it get too low. I keep it in the healthy range between 30%, 40%, and 60, 70%, something like that. So it's good to not get it too low and not charge it too high, and in that center range is ideal. But on a long trip, of course, you want to go ahead and charge it 100%, and you might have to go below 30% as well, depending on how far you are away from charges as you're going on your trip. So I'm going to give it a little bit of acceleration here. And what I noticed when I accelerate, because of the enormous power and instant torque that it has, that the suspension system, because it's kind of a soft suspension system, it tilts back quite a bit. So it's pretty impressive actually when you're actually driving. When you hit the accelerator, it feels like you're really moving because it's a little bit top heavy and all that stuff. But it is going fast. No question. It just adds that little bit of emphasis by lifting up. It feels like it's lifting up the front end type thing. So I thought that was cool. A lot of the other electric vehicles that I've driven were cars, so they had a lower center of gravity. They were so when you accelerate, it doesn't have that that jerking back motion. Now the Ford Lightning did, but it's still pretty cool. It feels like you're going warp speed basically. But overall, driving this vehicle is so pleasurable, easy to steer, easy to drive, plenty of acceleration. Braking system is fantastic. It has that high performance, ventilated on all four wheels disc brake system, smooth as glass, and at any time, you can just, you can really get that extra punch, And this is just like in comfort mode. I'm not even in sport mode or anything. And it just has this punchiness to it because it's an EV, that's the main reason. Cruise control system is easy to use. It keeps you at a safe distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. And the heads-up display, day or night, looks fantastic. You hear a little bit of wind noise, outside wind noise, and today is relatively windy. But those cars going by, you can barely hear it. Especially if you're playing the radio, just all that drowns out, and you just have it's just so. I wish I can convey it. I mean, I've tried to record myself just kind of driving with me not talking, and it's just like there's this experience that you get driving a vehicle like this that's just so nice. It's so pleasurable. It's able to handle curves. And the roads around here are mostly straight. They have very mild curves. But when you do run across the curve that's kind of a little bit sharper, you feel a little bit of rolling, a little bit of movement there, but it can handle it fine. And I was kind of surprised considering how much the suspension moves when you accelerate and stuff. It's really well done. Lane keep assist system, it doesn't fight against you, but it's not like, you know, it just kind of helps. Just kind of helps, that kind of thing. I think the intrusiveness of other systems, because it actually works a little bit, I mean, it actually keeps you in the lane a little bit better. It's more forceful with the steering wheel. But the problem with that is just it's a little bit, it kind of fights against you sometimes. I like the ones like this where it doesn't fight against you. It just kind of helps you keep the wheel and you don't have to use so much, you know, you're not like gripping the steering wheel so much, you know, you're just kind of chillaxing while you're driving. The regen braking, right now I have it at level 1. Let's go ahead and increase it. We'll go ahead. I'm not touching the brake right now. I'm not touching the brake, and it's going to come to a complete stop. I have to hit the accelerator because there's somebody behind me, but with that one pedal drive system, it will come to a complete stop. I don't use it that much, the one pedal drive system, so I'm going to go ahead and drop it back down. So I don't know if you can see this, but there's like this little shadow showing that there's a vehicle in front of me. It senses it, there's a little green line, and it senses that that vehicle is directly in front of me. It shows me the speed limit sign there, and so it gives me a lot of information as I go. And the same thing with the heads-up display. It has that little shadow car on the heads-up display now, and shows me what my speed limit is set to, what my speed actually is, the status of whether it sees the lines for the lane keep assist as like a green steering wheel portion. And so yeah, I'm well informed both on the screen here and on the heads-up display. It gives me the immediate relevant information, and I can customize that as well on the heads-up display. When you hit the boost mode, it says boost ready when you're not moving. Otherwise, it'll just instantly go into effect. But at nighttime, the colors change on the interior lights, and it just kind of snugs the seat as well, kind of holding you in position. So it gives you just full power, basically. Really impressive acceleration. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, comments, or anything, leave it in the comment section. And also subscribe to the channel, because a lot of people just like watch the video and they don't really subscribe because they're got the information they're looking for and they're like, hey, I'm done here. But you know, it couldn't hurt to support the channel, and I'd really appreciate it.